Welcome to the Whip Basics. This time, again, we will not talk about whips. This is not a review. This is a technique, a video on a technique. And this technique is called the Victorian Cut Back. It's a very interesting technique. It's a slow technique. You'll have to work on your coordination, but it's a slow one. If you're more into these cracking, I don't think that you will like the Victorian Cutback. So again, the Victorian Cutback is a very nice, elegant crack, a very elegant technique. You can use it in combinations, and well, I like it very much. Okay. What I think, this technique has hundreds of different names, you know, for, I don't know, perhaps the reverse windmill crack or something. It's always funny when people say, you used the wrong name for this technique, or you used the wrong name for this combination. Folks, I didn't invent the crack, okay? I learned it years ago under the name the Victorian Cutback. So if you know this technique under a different name, perfect. So, but on to the crack. The Victorian Cutback works like this. It starts like the underhand crack. You have the whip right out behind you in a nice and straight line. You bring the whip up here, but when the whip is, well, let's say about 10 o'clock up here, you change the direction of your handle. You start up here, and then you do this, okay? It comes here, and then you do this. Then you'll have a crack right here at your side. Looks like this. Handle up, the whip is over here, you turn the direction, and it's like this. That's the whole thing. You bring it up, ta-da, and you have a crack. Now break it down into parts. You bring the handle up, like I said, around 10 o'clock here. And the whip goes over here, of course. It looks like this. The whip comes over here. And what you do is, you stop the hand. The whip goes over here, of course. And then on this point, at this point, this here is the center, it's that ball and socket game. You just do this, like this, okay? You do this. From here, you go, whoop, here. You bring the whip up, you turn the handle, and the crack is there. It works like this. You bring the whip up, and the whip travels further here, in this direction. It moves over here. But you move the handle like this, and so this thing goes together, and therefore we have a crack. I think the whole thing is called physics or something like this. So once again. And what's very important, if you see it from the front, if you are here, don't do this, okay? The whip will end in a funny, sloppy motion. If you see it from the front, you are here, the whip is over here, and then you do this. Okay? Keep it right at your side, it's important. Then you can form the loop again. Okay? So, you bring it up, the whip is around 10 o'clock here, and then you do this. And the good thing is, when you have the proper technique, you can crack this Victorian Cutback very relaxed. You don't need power, you don't need too much speed or something. If the technique is okay, if the technique is right, the whip will crack itself. Watch this. You see, I just did this, that was all. And I had a nice and clean crack. What's very important for the Victorian Cutback and for the other cracks, don't force anything, okay? That means, in the beginning, especially with the Victorian Cutback, people are disappointed. They say, it doesn't crack, I can do whatever I want, it doesn't, it's only things like this. Well, this is normal, just a little patience, okay? Little patience. The most common mistake on the Victorian Cutback is this. Seen from that angle, you bring the whip up and then you bring the handle out there, and then the whole thing will end with this. You have just a, okay? So once again, from here, up and here. Just bring the handle here and there. Again, up and here. And you can see and you can hear it. You have a nice and clean crack. When you bring the handle out there, once again, which is the wrong way, yeah, this is a pretty good example for what can happen when you bring the handle out there. And it's dangerous for your eyes, you know. So, up, turn the handle, and there. And again, you can combine other cracks with the Victorian Cutback. Underhand crack into the Victorian looks like this. Beautiful combination. Or a 3-crack pattern, underhand, Victorian Cutback, and forward crack, like this. And this, for example. Like I said, and I can't say that often enough, the Victorian Cutback is not a technique for the folks who like to, it's not a technique for the folks who like ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bam, that machine gun sound. Well, if you like to have a machine gun sound, you can get, yeah, okay, other story. The Victorian Cutback, once again from the side. The whip is out behind you there. You bring the handle up, and when the whip passes around 10 o'clock here, you just do this, okay? Don't use power, don't use force, just let the whip do the work, like this. Okay? Again, crack it relaxed, crack it easy. And remember, a big bang, every idiot can make a bit BAM thing. The real art is the control of the whip. Okay? So, your decision. Well, that's it for the Victorian Cutback. I hope you'll enjoy that crack. Just give it a little time and I'm sure you will master this crack within no time. But hey, talking about mastering, teaching. Well, I said this before and I say it again. There are a lot of performers, great people, masters of their craft, masters in the art of whip cracking. The performer I like most, you should really look on YouTube, is Christopher Kemp, the whip guy, Chris Kemp. Just check him out. His tricks are amazing, his precision is really great. You know, just watch for Christopher Kemp. Talking about teachers, I said this before too, but I'm going to tell it again and again. If you're looking for good tutorial videos, for instructional videos on YouTube, there are 2 people I highly recommend. The first one is Restita de Jesus from the Seattle Snapdragons, and the other one is Darren Wilkerson. Both are great teachers. They have the talent to break things down into parts. They have a very good and interesting, relaxed way to teach, to tell. So if you look for ideas, for inspiration, and for, yeah, just for tutorials, for instructions how to crack a whip properly, Darren Wilkerson, and Restita de Jesus from the Seattle Snapdragons. Okay, so that's it from me. Again, I hope you'll enjoy the crack. Have a nice day, and till the next time. Bye.